Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on the channel today. It is the Pennsylvania 500 here at the Pocono Raceway, the site of our 20th race of this final NASCAR Thunder 2004 season. So still 17 races to go. We just crossed the halfway mark after yesterday's race at New Hampshire. Tough finish for us DNFing. I found the issue to why we DNF'd when I didn't think we should have. When we were trying to get our payback on Sterling Marlin and spin him. Let me mute that in the background there for a second. Anyway, what I was getting at, so when we were trying to turn Sterling Marlin yesterday and get payback on him coming off of turn 4, for whatever reason, it downshifted to first gear. Now, I know it's set on automatic on this game. I usually only run manual for Heat 4, Heat 5, and so on. But with this game, I feel like it's easier for me personally when I'm not used to the game. And even the last controller I had, it felt like the shifting was not exactly shifting when I wanted it to. So I went with an automatic instead of a manual transmission for this game. In the process of trying to spin him out, for whatever reason, it downshifted to first gear. When it downshifted to first gear, when I was on the gas while spinning him out, it blew the engine. That's why I was wondering, okay, we didn't even make heavy contact with him on a part. I had to go back. I noticed it right on the first, instance of it, that it downshifted. Somebody in the chat, Michael, yesterday also noted that if it was above 9,000 RPM, you're likely going to blow your engine, which I knew that, but I didn't realize that's what it was when it happened, and I was wondering how could that have been. It's because we were in first gear. So hopefully we don't have an issue like that. It was just a freak accident. I don't really know. Obviously, it was a game that downshifted us to first gear, but it wasn't a glitch at the same time either, so it was kind of tough to really depend on how it happened, the way it went. We have less than 90 laps to go while leading in dominant fashion, so that was definitely unfortunate for us. Today we're going to start at the rear of the field. I did not qualify. Very limited practice, but we just raced at Pocono last week. Again, this is one of the few tracks on the schedule where not only race at twice in the season, but you're racing there within a 6 to 7 race increment. So we were literally just there middle of last week on the channel, so I think we should have a pretty good performance. If you remember, we had an awesome race with a very, very good finish at the end of the day, and we got the win with Terry Labonte. So we'll see if Labonte can go for the Pocono sweep here today. And now time for the pre-race ceremonies, and then we'll go through tonight's starting lineup for the Pennsylvania 500. Oni, XY Games, welcome to the stream, by the way.
Pocono Mountains for today's Pennsylvania 500 on MRN. What can we look for on this unusual track, Barney?
The corners here at Pocono can be absolutely brutal, and gear selection is crucial for those long straightaways. The drivers that'll do the best are the ones that can set their turns up correctly and slingshot out of them for that extra boost.
In 1998, Jeremy Mayfield got his first career victory here at Pocono.
Well, that was really a breakout year for Jeremy. He was competitive in most races and finished in the top 10 in points for the first time in his career.
An unusual back-of-the-pack start for the U.S. Army Pontiac.
I spoke to the crew chief this morning, and he told me that they just missed the setup in qualifying, but he does expect his driver to make his way up through the field and get a good finish without much problem.
Terry Labonte has been called the Iceman because of his cool demeanor under pressure, but maybe the nickname Iron Man is more appropriate.
You know, that's right. Labonte set a record for consecutive race starts with 655. That's over 20 years.
Like how they literally have the same thing set for us every single race. Like they say the same thing about Terry Labonte. This is the point where we need to start having sponsors for the channel, so that way we can point out what today's sponsors are before we go through the starting lineup. Because we don't have any, we're just going to get right into the starting lineup, and of course starting with today's front row for the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono. Tony Stewart will be on the pole, came in after losing the points lead because of an engine failure yesterday, looking for a bounce back today. Rusty Walsh will start on the outside of the front row. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who had a good run in yesterday's race, will be starting inside row 2 with Jeff Gordon to his outside. Ryan Newman and Dale Jarrett will be in row number 3. Both drivers looking for their first win of the year today. Jarrett came close in the first Pocono race. Mark Martin comes in with the points lead for the first time this season. He'll start inside of his teammate Matt Kenseth in row number 4. Kevin Harvick and Ricky Rudd, former rivals, now I wouldn't say bittersweet enemies, but they obviously have been able to calm their demeanors with one another. They'll be starting in row 5 today. In row 6, it'll be Michael Waltrip and Bobby Labonte. Bobby came close, finishing runner-up in the first Pocono race this season. He's been on a hot streak, won 2 races ago as well. Kurt Busch and Ward Burt will be in row 7. In row number 8, it'll be Hermie Sadler and Jeremy Mayfield. A couple of California natives in row number 9, Jimmy Johnson and Robbie Gordon. In row number 10, it'll be Johnny Benson and Joe Nemechek. We saw Benson start towards the rear and actually get a top 10 in the first Pocono race. In row number 11, it'll be Greg Biffle and Ricky Craven. Craven, the Daytona 500 winner here on Season 2 of NASCAR Thunder 04 on the channel. Rookie Jamie McMurray inside of row 12 with Elliott Sadler starting to his outside. Jack Sprague and Sterling Marlin will be in row number 13 for Marlin. Obviously one of the rivals that a certain somebody Terry Labonte might be looking to get payback on today. Jeff Burton and Christian Fittipaldi will be in row 14. In row 15, it'll be Kevin LePage and Jerry Nadeau. LePage, another one of those rivals. One of only 2 of Terry Labonte, that is. Kenny Wallace and Kevin Grubb will be back in row 16. Behind them in row number 17, it'll be Steve Park and Stanton Barrett. Park's becoming all too familiar with qualifying towards the rear of the field. He needs to get that going in the right direction like he had a little earlier in the season. Jeff Green and Bill Elliott will be in row number 18. In row 19, it'll be Kyle Petty and Kenny Schrader.
The Georgia Pacific Dodge and the BAM Racing Dodge.
In row number 20, it'll be 2 rookies, Casey Mears and Ashton Lewis. Mears has been on a terrible slump lately. We'll have to see what he'll do today. Brett Bodine and Mike Skinner will make up row 21, and rounding out the field, starting last due to not qualifying, will be our driver, Terry Labonte. He came from the rear and came from last place to win at Pocono earlier this year, but he only led 8 laps in that race, so he's hopefully going to try to lead more today, maybe to get himself some more bonus points if he gets the win versus just the 5. Oni, am I good at NASCAR? I'd say I'm pretty good at NASCAR video games, yes. But we haven't had our best of luck so far this season, 7 DNFs. We'll see how today's will go. Ethan, welcome to the stream as well. Ethan, you noted it perfectly. Green flag will be back in the air. Another 500-mile race. The last time we had one was right here at Pocono. So let's do it again here on a Thursday night. As they roll off into turn 1. Pocono's known for very crazy restarts. We saw some crazy restarts in the New Hampshire race yesterday. Look at Labonte get back to the gas really quickly as he backs up the opening corner. Lets them run side by side in front of him. He might be looking to take it 3 wide into turn 2. I think Labonte's going to be looking at trying to drive it in deep. Locks the brakes a little bit. Still 3 by 3 through the tunnel turn. I'm surprised they made it through there with no contact. Oh, Mears pulled down right in front of Labonte. Labonte gets to the brakes hard, but in time still makes up a couple spots. Pretty successful opening lap for Terry Labonte. Trying to draft Casey Mears now down the main front stretch. 1 lap in the books. Andrew Hollenbach, welcome to the stream. Oh, contact with Casey Mears. They were almost 4 wide with Kenny Wallace trying to get right back underneath of Labonte, who passed in the corner before. And Labonte's a man on a mission here early in today's race. Wallace is going to get to the inside 3 wide, stuffing Labonte in the middle off of turn 2. Labonte holds his line about as cleanly as he could with this Band Analog stick. Big shake by the 30th Park, who himself has gained a couple spots in the beginning of today's race. All clears Labonte on Sprague. Off of turn 3, 2 laps in the books. Andrew, sounds like it's time for you to take a mental vacation this week, so thanks for tuning in here tonight. Hopefully I can do just that. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 2. Labonte hard to the brakes again. Just barely clearing Steve Park. Oh, Park! No, Park didn't get in the wall. Looked like it was Robbie Gordon who actually hit the wall on the outside. Off of turn 2, contact getting into the corner now. Jeff Green, I believe, just clipped Jeff Burton in the left rear. Checks up the whole line of cars, and Park gets right back around Labonte. That was Jerry Nadeau who got the wall off turn 2, not Robbie Gordon. Park leaves the bottom open again in turn 1. So does Hermie Sadler. Bonnie seems like his car's handling a little bit better than what it was in the first Pocono race this season. He had to win that race on strategy. He had maybe a top 10 car, and that was about it. But he led 8 laps, including the last 5, due to Dale Jr. not being able to make it to the end on fuel. So nearly a fuel mileage race. The first time we were here, we saw one in Season 1 as well. And in Season 2, the second race at Pocono. Oh, contact! Hang on! Almost a big crash into turn 3. Nemechek got into the side of Jeff Green. They both checked up. Labonte still got into the back of Nemechek. Tried to get out of the way. Couldn't do it in time. Labonte does get past both of them meanwhile, as he tries to block Jeff Green going into turn 1. Labonte hard on the brakes as Green gets back underneath him. We stay green here at Pocono. Trying to outdraft Robbie Gordon. Or Jeff Green using the draft off Robbie Gordon down these long straightaways, but he's going to have to let Jeff Green go on the bottom and just wait to pass him back. Big slide getting into turn 3. Labonte trying to clear the one of Jeff Green right back again, and he does. Nice clean pass. I'm glad I'm not in school anymore. I don't have to worry about taking any sort of tests or quizzes. At least in that kind of manner. I'm one of the people that don't really look back on high school as being my best years. I try to look ahead, into the future thing. I had some good moments there, yes, but it's not something I want to go back to. And after being a few years removed from it already, I can say I don't miss it. A lot of blocking going on. Jeff Green looks really fast. I think that contact he had with Nemechek definitely checked him up, because he lost a couple spots. He gained them right back and then some. Terry Labonte still trying to draft with Robbie Gordon, though, down the Long Pond straightaway as they cross the start-finish line once again. Already 6 laps complete. These guys could go about 34 to 38 laps on fuel, if I remember correctly, from last week we were at Pocono. Oh, Robbie Gordon checked up quite a bit. Labonte got into the back of him. Probably had to check up as much as he did because of how low he entered the corner. Labonte hard into turn 3. Robbie Gordon with the block in the center of the corner, trying to make sure Terry doesn't get back around him again. So Terry's going to go all the way downstairs, down the main front stretch now to try and get around Robbie Gordon. Still side by side. At least it allowed Robbie not to block him. And Labonte will make the clean pass into turn 1 for 21st. Yeah, luckily I still talk to or hang out with the few friends that I did associate myself with in school, especially in high school. Robbie Gordon had a big jump off the curb in turn 2. Of course, that curbing's not there anymore. They took it out. They took the grass out right in that immediate entry to turn 2, and now it's just a clear apron that is actually used as somewhat of a racing line as well here at Pocono. Especially immediately after the repave and the way in which they took that out. Accidental bump and run on Jamie McMurray. Don't want to do that at these fast speeds, especially turn 1 at Pocono. Probably the most treacherous corner in all of NASCAR. Wobble up the track, right into the left rear of McMurray. McMurray not only lost his spot to Labonte, Jeff Green got around him as well. Sterling Marlin's moving through the field. He qualified right about in the 30th spot. He's already into the top 15. Having a fast car, a good start to the day. It's going to be an uphill climb for, say, him to win the championship, but you look at the fact that he's still trying to go for that first win of the season. Corner exit doesn't seem to be a thing in this game. Yeah, not a whole lot. It's really how you drive it into the corner. Like, you can drive it in so deep and really gain a lot of time that way. You can back the corners up a little bit. It's definitely harder. I think it's easier to back up the corners in this game versus NASCAR Heat, to be completely honest. But I get what you're saying. If I remember right, though, Chase for the Cup 05, you used to really be able to, like, back corners up and really try to make moves that way a little bit easier, perhaps. Labonte going all the way downstairs. Lap 11, it's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. Ricky Craven in the middle. Labonte tried to hold it 3 wide on the bottom, couldn't. A little contact. Remember, though, Labonte was getting really, really tight throughout the course of the run the last time we were at Pocono. And he's got the same setup that he started with there, but for whatever reason, seems like it's actually handling a little bit better on corner entry than what it was last time. Could just be the fact that this track is fresh in our memory and just ran a full 200 lap race there again, as mentioned last week. So there should be no reason why we shouldn't get to the end of this one, unless obviously a freak accident happens in front of us and there's nowhere to go, which could obviously happen at any racetrack on any given race day. Terry Labonte trying to get around Jeff Burton. Little side draft. Didn't clip him. That was a nice clean pass. And up to 16th. Johnny Benson qualified back half of the field again. He's moving up through the running order as well. He didn't get into turn 2 as well as Sterling Marlin ahead of him did, and now look at Johnny Benson blocking as they go into turn 3. Labonte beats him to the inside and will beat him off the corner for 15th. Well, there's Sterling Marlin. Not even going to mention what has happened in the last 4 races, other than it has been 4 races, and this ongoing rivalry between the 40 and the 5 car, and Labonte might have a chance for payback early on today. Get it done and out of the way. And then just try to play keep away from him the rest of the race.
Number 40 is going for the block.
Oh, Kyle Busch by far is the best driver, being able to start at the back and work his way through the field. Especially before this actual package that we see now with the intermediate tracks. Kyle Busch, it used to be fun to watch him do it. Kyle Larson was pretty good at doing it too. Because it seemed like Larson was always having to start at the rear there for, something random for failing pre-race inspection. It was always fun to watch him come from the back. But Kyle Busch usually could find himself in victory lane a lot more when he did it versus when Kyle Larson did it. Well, I look at it as we're not going to have a lot of lap traffic today. So if I take him out now, he's going to automatically lose however many spots because we got to race back to the caution flag. I don't care. Currently, Marlin's in the middle of trying to pass Jimmy Johnson, which is one of Labonte's teammates. Labonte hard into turn 2. Drafting off Marlin for now. He's going to get to the inside of Johnson. Marlin hasn't cleared Jimmy himself yet. And Labonte will make the pass on Johnson as well. He got a little loose. That's the first time he's really gotten loose, especially as drastically as he did right there, getting into a corner. It's going to be hard to get to the outside of Sterling Marlin here at Pocono, though. If I remember right, this is where the rivalry started. It might have been the race after this. Yeah, it was at Sonoma, my bad. It was at Sonoma where it started, if I remember right. I know that's where he crashed us out at. All right. Marlin's looking to make a couple more passes. Here's me getting loose down the straightaway again. All over the back of the 40. Marlin's definitely blocking him. Matt Kenseth might try to take it 3 wide into the tunnel turn. He's looking to the inside of Ward Burton and Dale Jarrett. Surprised that rival indicator didn't go up any after Bonnie pushed it a little too hard getting into turn 2. Not trying to get exactly into his back bumper. He's trying to get to his right rear corner panel to turn him that way. Oh, he got off of turn 1 a lot better. And around goes Marlin. To race back to the caution flag. Didn't look like Labonte lost many spots, maybe one. And Labonte gets his payback on Sterling Marlin down the main front stretch. I don't think anybody else was involved. Marlin falls all the way back to 22nd. He actually backed it into the wall pretty hard. So Marlin crossed the line in 22nd. Only Johnson got back around Terry Labonte. We're going to see if anybody's going to hit pit road under the caution. If they do, Labonte's going to also hit the pits. We're a little past the halfway mark of this run, and oh! They started pitting, and I hit yes, and it didn't take it in time. Well, it looks like Terry Labonte's on older tires now. He gets 5 bonus points for leading a lap, but that's the least of his concern. At least he's got track position, too. We're going to have to wait and see how this is going to pan out. Green flag back in the air after our first caution of the day at Pocono. So everybody came to pit road in front of him, and likely behind him as well. Now the 3 wide into turn 1 for second place. Kurt Busch to the inside, trying to go from 4th to 2nd, perhaps underneath the 2 Penske cars of Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman. Caution! Off of turn 2. Might be debris on Marlin's car. Not entirely sure. They'll race back to the caution flag. As Kurt Busch is going to take 2nd into turn 3. Almost hit the wall off of turn 3 as well. So likely debris, bringing out our 2nd caution at lap 21 today at Pocono. Jonathan Rogers, welcome to the stream. And yeah, heavy damage on the back of Marlin's car will bring out the caution. He's got a lot heavier damage than what I thought he was going to have there. Well, Labonte's going to pit now. At least he got 5 bonus points. He'll put himself at the back again. No big deal. I guess it kind of worked out. Well, it didn't because Labonte lost the track position. I was trying to pit last time, and it just wouldn't let me. I swear I hit yes in time. Like, I hit yes as soon as I saw that first car pull to pit road. And then it advanced. No mistakes in the last race with this pit crew, but they had been reeling the 3 races prior to that and trying to have good pit stops throughout the course of it.
We're starting in the back, so be careful.
So Labonte right back to where he started in the last place position. And he'll try to come from the rear. Green flag back in the air. Hey, there's Kevin LePage right there as well. Another driver Labonte's got to get payback on today. Lap 25 and back under green. Oh, a little contact. Huge check up into turn 1. They checked up going into the first turn on the restart. Pretty major contact in the front of Labonte's car and the back of Kevin Grubb in the 26. Labonte just couldn't check up in time. Biffle almost squeezed Stanton Barrett into the wall. Labonte's willing to try and get his payback on. Ooh, Kevin LePage. LePage about hit the wall himself there. Oh! LePage runs Labonte all the way down the inside of the track. Oh, and he runs him down again! Hard contact into the wall as LePage has just wiped out Terry Labonte in turn 1. LePage hit the wall pretty hard himself. Labonte hit head on. He's still running. That's got to probably knock a lot of speed out of his car. What was LePage thinking there? I mean, Labonte was going to get payback on him, but then once he got to the inside, he had a good draft down the Long Pond straightaway on Greg Biffle's car. What was that all about from Kevin LePage? Joshua Rumsey, welcome to the stream. Currently racing Darlington, NASCAR Heat 5. Truck race. Good luck. So LePage just... I mean, that was insane. He hit him once down the front stretch, and then he leaned on him again, almost putting Labonte into the grass. And then as they were going into turn 1, LePage ran him down to the inside of the track another time. So Labonte's going to repair the damage. That's already our 3rd caution of the day here at Pocono. A wild start to things. We had just 3 cautions in the entire Pocono race the first time we were here. We've had 3 in the first 30 laps already. Look at the damage to the front of Labonte's race car now, all from Kevin LePage. That was definitely uncalled for. Labonte's lucky he's still running. LePage hit the wall hard too, but I don't think he hit as hard as Terry Labonte did. Green flag back in the air. Labonte did not take off on the restart. Doesn't have heavy damage on the car, at least after that pit stop. He backed up a little bit more into turn 1 as well, just in case there was going to be a checkup again like there was on the last restart. But no checkup this time. Bonnie with a deep dive into the corner. LePage trying to maybe block Terry Labonte a little bit. And Labonte hooks him into turn 1. Up the racetrack into Stanton Barrett. Labonte gets his payback on Kevin LePage going into turn 1. They'll race back to the caution flag ahead. 4 cautions in the first 31 laps today at Pocono. Labonte saying, no, you're not getting away with it that easy there, Kevin. After LePage out of nowhere just dumped Labonte into turn 1. Just give him another lap or so of green flag racing, and Labonte pays him right back. Labonte might be able to get a couple more spots as they get back to the start-finish line. Getting around Stanton Barrett and Greg Biffle. That's going to actually work out wonders for Labonte, knowing LePage is probably going to line up in last. So 4 cautions already today. So LePage goes through the grass in turn 1. Didn't look like he really hit anything. I'm surprised the way it was angled, that was a really weird spin. The fact he got right hooked going into a corner in turn 1, and he spun down the track. I mean, this track doesn't even have a lot of banking either. That was really strange. Very, very strange. Doesn't look like anybody's going to pit here. So Labonte's going to stay out as well. There's the current points as we run. And green flag is back in the air here at Pocono. We'll check up on the restart that time as Labonte got to the inside. He'll pull back up in line. Inside of Greg Biffle. Nearly 3 wide in the corner as Barrett went to the middle lane. Kevin LePage all the way to the bottom. Labonte wants to get away from him as soon as he can. Yeah, Joshua doing pretty good today. Oh, Kevin Grubb pulling down right into the side of Terry Labonte. Wallace just about got in the wall. Kenny Wallace, that is. Grubb to the inside, 3 wide underneath Mike Skinner. Contact a little further up ahead. Ashton Lewis and somebody else made contact getting into turn 3.
Number 22 is outside. Way to get ready, buddy.
He may try to pay you back. Okay, time to go. The leader is about 6 seconds ahead.
The 22 car is still there. Clear. The 4 cars all over your back bumper. Number 43 is outside. They're on both sides.
So Labonte's going to have to come all the way from the rear. He got as high as 13th before the first caution of the day. And he's basically on the same strategy as the leaders. Maybe go an extra 2 to 3 laps on fuel. That's about it. That many lap fresher tires isn't going to really do anything either. Ooh. Somebody made contact getting into turn 3. Couldn't tell who or where exactly it happened, but I definitely heard it. 3 wide. Going into turn 1 this time. Labonte on the inside of Hermie Sadler and Brett Bodine. Labonte drove it in really hard, clears them both. Joseph Ben, welcome to the stream. Please keep the car clean. From here on out, definitely going to try to keep the car clean. I want to get my payback on LePage for dumping us in turn 1 out of nowhere there. And then payback already on Sterling Marlin, so I'm just going to try to keep it off of everybody else the rest of the race. Labonte trying to go for the Pocono sweep. Just the second racetrack we've been to for the second time this season. Again, this is race number 20. So 18 different racetracks on the schedule. We got 2 more new tracks coming in the schedule in the next 2 races, where we go to the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway tomorrow night, and then Watkins Glen on Saturday evening. So Labonte continues to work his way through the field. Led 1 green flag lap, and then 3 laps under caution, and that's been it for Terry Labonte so far today. Actually, he's probably led about 4 or 5 laps under caution, because led that 1 lap, then we got another caution. Then he would have led a couple laps there also. Oh, contact further back. They almost had a crash. There's smoke. And then Kyle Petty ended up getting clipped or hung up on somebody's right rear, went all the way up the racetrack. Couldn't tell if they hit the wall or not, but there was a big checkup, and now there's like nobody out of the rear view of Terry Labonte. Barely kept it off Steve Park. He goes into turn 1 hard. Labonte trying to cut through this field again. This time he wants to get a little further up the racetrack than 13th. Robbie Gordon scrapes the wall off of turn 3. Nadu stays clear. Nemechek going to get around him as well. Let's see if we can get a longer green flag run in this time. Again, we've had 3 cautions already in the first 30 laps of the race. I should say 4 cautions. Yeah, 4 cautions in the first 35 laps. Already more cautions in today's race than what we had our first race at Pocono. That was through a full 500 miles, not the first 100 miles. It's insane. Already the most cautions we've had in the last 3 races as well. Since Daytona. For a July race there. The inside of Ricky Rudd. Well, he was there for a second, and then Labonte had a big bobble getting into turn 1. Murray didn't quite get underneath, and Ricky Rudd actually trying to cross over on Johnny Benson. Benson puts the block on him. Labonte was going to get underneath there. I think Labonte's lacking a little bit more straightaway speed after LePage had taken him out in a hard accident earlier. Great crossover, though. Labonte that time going to make sure he gets to the inside of Ricky Rudd. Trying to make a pass into turn 3. Johnny Benson might hold him up a little bit. There's definitely some contact. Seems to be all right. Big run to the back of Jeff Green. If Green gets underneath of Sterling Marlin, that might be a good opportunity for Terry Labonte to take it 3 wide. It would be a gutsy move, but it would probably be the best way to get around Marlin without Marlin taking a swing. Green looks low. Labonte drafting with Jeff Green. Oh, Green checked up into turn 3 after Marlin puts the block on. Marlin threw a late block into turn 3, entry on Jeff Green, and then Green, after brake checking there, gave no chance for Labonte to get around him. That was the opportunity that Labonte was looking to take it 3 wide, too, and try to get around Marlin Lane, but of course Marlin foils that party. And foils the plans of Labonte trying to make any sort of a pass there. Labonte was looking to make it clean, and now Jeff Green is blocking Terry Labonte into turn 2. Off of turn 2 as well. Passing already hard enough here at Pocono. I think of any track on this game, the AI race so much harder here than anywhere else. Labonte to the outside, a little side draft on Green down the front stretch. He's also getting a big draft off of Sterling Marlin. Oh, somebody just blew an engine into turn 1. Oh, there's a crash into turn 1 hard. Dale Jarrett into the back of a car that blew an engine. I believe it was Jimmy Johnson. And Labonte, with a huge wreck avoidance, splits the middle. No caution. How was there no caution there? Sparks were flying. Cars were shooting up the racetrack into the grass. Minimal contact for Labonte, with I believe Jarrett when he got through there after Jarrett had hit the wall hard. Oh my goodness. No debris shedded anywhere, it looked like either. And Terry Labonte pulling out his inner days of thunder trying to get through that accident. That might be the wreck avoidance of the century. My gosh. Turn 1 at Pocono nonetheless. We were talking about it earlier as being one of the more, if not the most treacherous corner in NASCAR, and then we have something like that happen. I believe that was Johnson that blew the engine, by the way. Still trying to limp it around the racetrack with heavy damage nonetheless as well. Yeah, it's tough to tell exactly who that was.
Come on, buddy, we're 6 seconds back. Let's get up there.
Labonte obviously lost a lot of time trying to shoot the gap at the same time, just jamming the brakes into turn 1. That happened ahead, or I should say that happened behind everybody that made it out ahead of it. That you're seeing here that Labonte's trying to run that pack of cars back down again. Sparks flying up ahead. I'm not sure if there was contact or the car just bottomed out there. Well, here's going to be the next testament. That's going to be Terry Labonte trying to get around Sterling Marlin. No heavy damage, luckily, for Labonte after just narrowly missing what could have been a major accident. I mean, it basically was a major accident. They just didn't throw a caution for it. They very well could have. Well, Bonnie trying to get around Marlin. That's a big block by Sterling. And Labonte to the inside of Marlin in turn 3. Labonte going all the way down low. He wants to make sure Marlin's not going to hit him. Bonnie not sure if he's clear yet. Pulls up the racetrack. He might be clear finally getting into turn 1. Oh, almost got into Warburton. Not quite, though. And look at Marlin trying to run him back down again. Big run by Sterling Marlin. Labonte tries to get away. Craven pulling a block on Labonte, though, and that's going to hold him up a little bit. Labonte hard into turn 2. Marlin stuck on the outside. Warburton going to get back underneath him. So Labonte actually got around Marlin clean. Get around Ricky Craven. Underneath Jeff Burton in turn 3. About halfway through the fuel run. As we are now quickly approaching lap 50. Big block down the front stretch there by Terry Labonte. Clears Jeff Burton.
The 99 car wants to get by you.
I'd be real surprised if he don't try something.
Walter protecting that inside lane. Really helped Terry Labonte a ton right there because he was able to draft off of him. That helped him clear Matt Kenseth before they even got into turn 2. Bonnie underneath Michael Waltrip in turn 3, hugging the curbing. And now a drag race down the main front stretch. Harvick moves down just low enough, and just like when Waltrip got by Kenseth, Labonte's going to get around Waltrip, drafting off of another Chevrolet, this time again Kevin Harvick. Now he gets underneath Harvick into turn 1. Clears him easily, and Labonte's starting to charge through the field. And for now, he's up to 9th as he continues to move his way forward. Labonte to the outside of Stewart. Why the outside? Because he had drafting help from Dale Jr. and now he clears Stewart. Oh, Labonte a little tight. Contact with Jr. I don't know how Labonte got through that corner as well as he did after the contact with Dale Jr. He still works his way to the inside of Brian Newman. They'll be side by side into turn 2. Labonte hard on the brake, shoots the gap and clears Newman now for 6th. And out of the inside of his brother Bobby Labonte for 2nd. Remember, these two finished 1-2 in that first Pocono race. Only time they've been able to do that this year with Terry again getting that win. Terry Labonte got to pass Bobby that time. For 5th. Spencer Boyd blew an engine with 2 laps to go. Bummer. Labonte was on the curb, and I thought Rusty Wallace was still going to run him down even lower, and Labonte had nowhere else to go. A little shaky into turn 2, but he clears Rusty. Down to the inside of Mark Martin, drafting off of his teammate Gordon.
Number 6, he's still there. All clear, mate.
Look at how low Jeff Gordon's going to try and block Terry Labonte. Look at how low he is. Oh, he clips the grass. Gordon's in the wall. And he still holds on to 2nd. What was that? Gordon went all the way downstairs to block Logani. Look, I don't know why I was trying to stay there. I had a stroke. Sorry. Gordon was trying to go down low to block Terry Labonte into turn 1. And just took himself into the grass and into the outside wall, and he still held on to 2nd. That was as video game-like of a move as I've ever seen. He's starting to lose spots now. Labonte got around him. Mark Martin gets around him for 3rd. That was just insane. Meanwhile, Kurt Busch is still in the lead. It's just been a crazy first 50-plus laps of today's race. We've seen a lot of things. And that's probably the first I've seen anything like that. Labonte pressing hard, trying to catch Kurt Busch off of turn 2. Pretty big run. Labonte to the inside. Off of turn 3. Kurt Busch hangs on to the lead for now. It's going to be a lot harder to pass the driver with the clean air. Labonte drafting hard. Kurt goes a little wide into turn 1. Labonte to the inside, makes the clean pass and clears Kurt Busch off of turn 1. So Labonte back out in front for the 2nd time today. This will be just the 2nd green flag lap he's led all day long, assuming he can still hold on to this lead back to the start-finish line. Pretty good run going for Terry Labonte right now. I'm going to alternate through the different camera angles now for the next dozen laps. Honestly, if you think about it, the way the first 55 laps of today's race have gone, it's pretty much just kind of picked up where we left off when we were at Pocono last week on this very game and on this very season. And that kind of craziness. You wonder if that's going to shape ourselves up for that kind of a finish like we had the last time we were here at Pocono as well. So that could very well be the case. A long ways until lap traffic yet. I don't see Labonte getting any sort of lap traffic until after our green flag pit stops, which again, everybody's going to have to pit at least a couple laps before Terry Labonte. And maybe some drivers can go just as far as him. I'd be shocked if that was the case, but I guess we'll wait and see. Got 9 people watching right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in here on a Thursday night. It has been one crazy race so far today at the Tricky Triangle for the Pennsylvania 500. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We do these full race live streams on the daily with the realistic broadcast. I'm starting my young broadcasting career. Follow me on that journey again by simply just subscribing. Hit the like button as well if you haven't already. Hopefully you guys are enjoying tonight's race so far. So we're seeing a lot of drivers come to pit road right now. First set of green flag pit stops we've seen so far today. A couple laps after Labonte took just his second lead of the night. It's already led for more laps consecutively now than what we saw earlier. Another driver has just blown an engine on the inside of the racetrack in turn 3. Oh, Kurt Busch, problems for one of the favorites here today. Kurt has already led laps. That is a very tough break for Kurt Busch. We could make the goal 25 likes tonight. Why not? Got 8 of them right now. I think that's doable. We still got about 2/3 of a race left. We're pacing ourselves well to get there. Almost about as perfectly as we could, honestly. So Kurt Busch and I believe Jimmy Johnson blew an engine as well, and that has pretty much been the story of the season for Johnson. It has either been he has had a fast top 10 car or he has been blowing an engine. And that is why he's outside the top 10 of the point standings just past the halfway mark this season. My car getting loose down the straightaway again. I don't know if we're going to have a replay of it later in the race, or I should say at the end of the race. But that wreck avoidance by Terry Labonte was insane. And he missed that very, very big crash in turn 1 a couple laps after a restart. Just kind of split the middle. He had cars spinning in the grass. Into the wall on the outside. I mean, there was just nowhere for him to go, and he made it through there about as well as he could. Comes Dale Jarrett off the pit lane. Oh, boy. That was an awkward spot for Labonte to catch Jarrett. Oh, car on the wall. Johnny Benson slid up the racetrack and into the outside wall hard in turn 1. We stay green again. No caution for that. Not sure what happened there. It was already kind of awkward with the way Jarrett was coming up onto the racing surface in turn 1. No apron like there is now with the curving down on the inside of the racetrack. Some grass there compared to what there is nowadays as well. And Labonte gave him just enough room on the inside, but then Benson, I don't know if Jeff Green got into him or what the case was, but Benson slid up into the wall. Tell the rear tires chattered quite a bit because there was a lot of smoke as he was washing up the racetrack as well. I think by the end of the year we can. I think by the end of 2021 we should be able to do that. I mean, we're still in the first calendar year of the channel, and we're almost at 750, which is awesome. I definitely didn't think that was going to take off as quickly as it did, to be quite honest. By the end of the calendar year of the channel, which would be in about another 3 to 4 weeks, I don't think so. We were looking pretty good there for a little bit. Landed way too low into turn 1. Ricky Craven came out of the pits right in front of him. That didn't help. So the majority of these drivers have hit pit road. Labonte again can go a little bit further because he pitted during the course of a couple of those cautions. Pretty much everybody pitted after the first yellow. So it's just before lap 20. We've had 4 cautions so far today already at Pocono. Again, just going into the wild and craziness. We almost had one a couple laps ago with Benson sliding up the track hard into turn 1. To the outside wall there. And then, of course, that big accident that somehow there was no caution there. I don't even know how there wasn't a caution that Labonte missed. I appreciate it, Jonathan. Definitely, if you know anybody that's a NASCAR fan or a NASCAR video game fan, this is the place to be. Having a lot more stuff coming up on the channel, as I have been mentioning, once NASCAR season hits once again. And we've seen other sorts of video uploads. It's just a little bit slow during the off season. We'll still be doing these full race live streams as well with the realistic broadcast, but as well as a lot of other stuff I want to dabble with. New stuff too. Help grow the channel here into the second calendar year as we approach it in a few weeks. It'll be the couple days after the 500 would technically be the 1-year anniversary mark. Would have been the day of the Daytona 500 last year. So the 16th would be the 1-year anniversary mark. So Labonte might be coming to pit road this time. He was at 0.7 of a gallon when he hit the start-finish line. In turn 2 right now. So Labonte will be coming to pit road this time by. Locking the tires up, trying not to speed. That was close, but he definitely got down there in time. 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, no adjustments coming for Terry Labonte. First green flag stop of the day. So again, this is a scheduled pit stop. Next NASCAR game comes, I don't know when exactly it's coming out. I don't see it coming out any later than what the old NASCAR, like NASCAR Heat Evolution, Heat 2 through Heat 4, all came out like right about September, like early September, right when the playoffs would start. But now, or I should say last year rather, it came out a little bit earlier. So Terry Labonte will cycle off of pit road 5th. So he was the last driver to cycle out of the pit lane. Oh, that didn't work.
Number 12 wants to get by you.
Ryan Newman trying to get around Terry Labonte. Looking, still looking. They walk up the racetrack into turn 3. Terry hangs on to his position. Everybody on pretty equal tires. Look, Terry Labonte's probably got a couple lap fresher tires. About five laps roughly on a lot of these leaders. We'll go back to the far chase cam for now. As Terry Labonte tries to run back down on Dale Jr. and hopefully he can eventually get to the lead. Almost slid up into Ryan Newman. Newman looked to the outside into turn 1. That was interesting. So yeah, if I had to guess when the next NASCAR game came out, or will come out, it'll probably be anywhere between the release from last year, mid-September is kind of the time frame I'd have to guesstimate on. Bonnie trying to draft off Dale Jr. as much as he can down this main front stretch. Second lap in a row that Labonte has drifted up the racetrack getting into turn 1. It was a little bit worse that time than the lap before. Back up turn 2 a little bit better. Dale Jr. got into the corner way too high. You see how much time Terry Labonte gained in that corner alone. Jr. a little bit higher on corner entry into turn 3 again as well. And Labonte gains a little bit more ground on him. Labonte trying to draft him. Wow. It just seems like the last 3 laps, Labonte's just got looser and looser and looser as they go off into turn number 1. My goodness. Weird. He was gaining on Jr. and then Jr. just started to slowly pull back away from him again. Mark Martin has gotten a lot closer to Ryan Newman's back bumper.
Okay, buddy. We're about 5 seconds behind the leader.
Bonnie gains that ground right back on Dale Jr. Big run in the draft again. And Labonte now going to try to make a move to the inside. Looks. Can't quite get there yet. He's going to drive it deep into turn 3. Junior entered a little bit too high. And just like that, Terry Labonte will move up to 4th, passing Dale Jr. in turn 3. Lap car Greg Biffle coming up in the picture. Race leaders dealing with lap traffic as we speak. And Terry Labonte's actually 4 seconds off the race lead. Despite being in the 4th spot, things really spaced now. This is the longest green flag run we've had so far today at right about 40 laps. Haven't really seen a green flag run come much closer than that. I think the longest before that was about 16 laps. Bonnie trying to make quick work of his ally, Greg Biffle, especially with the Biff being a lap car. Way off the pace today. But at least Biffle got that first career win in his rookie season earlier this year. Which is kind of convenient because he did actually get a win in his rookie year back at Daytona in the July race in 2003 in real life. He did not win that race on this season, but he won a race. If I remember right, I believe he won at Michigan. Rondo Slice, welcome to the stream. Want to play this game so bad. It's available. They have it on Amazon. That's where I was able to get this game and this PS2 console as well. Both refurbished, and I haven't had any issues with it. I had an issue with my controller, which was glitching, but it was after about 6 months down the road, and all I had to do was get a new controller. Now, granted, this one sucks too, but as far as like the game itself, I haven't had any issues with it. The PS2 console itself, I haven't had any issues with it. So if you can find it on Amazon, I think it's well worth it. Boy. Terry's running some pretty fast laps on the racetrack. He is catching some of these guys. Lap traffic probably getting in the leaders' ways as well, costing them more and more as these runs carry forward. Bonnie, who was just 4 seconds off the lead a few laps ago, is 2.3 back, at least at the start-finish line there. Slides a little bit into turn 1. Still gets underneath Kevin Grubb. It definitely seems like this race car's got a lot more grip than the first time we came to Pocono. The fact that Bonnie was able to actually charge to the lead already once today, kind of telling of that story. Believe that is a battle for second place right now. Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, a couple of Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. Side by side, Labonte clears him off of turn number 3. Terry trying to get a run off Tony Stewart in the draft down the Long Pond straightaway. Labonte was about 0.7 of a second faster than the leader that last lap. Big slide into turn 1. Still got it to turn in the center of the corner pretty well. Tony Stewart trying to cross over on Bobby Labonte to the inside of him off of turn number 1. Labonte with a block. Stewart, meanwhile, trying to block Terry Labonte himself. Stewart drives it in deep into turn 2. Stewart trying to block Terry again. Into turn 3.
Is outside.
Labonte to the inside of his brother, follows Stewart right on by. Stewart still trying to block. Look at how low Tony Stewart's going down the racetrack.
Still there.
Stewart continues to block lower and lower. And Stewart's in the grass! And into Labonte, and Labonte gets up into his brother Bobby in turn 1. That was a little bit of a train wreck. Stewart went all the way too low, clipped the grass into turn 1, trying to block Terry Labonte for second. Made a little bit of contact with him, and then that shoved Labonte's car back up into his brother outside of him. We stay green again, and that was a near major accident into turn 1, as it is a tough 3-car battle for the second position. The top 3 are still closing in on the race leader. Might be a 4-car battle for the lead here before long.
The leaders are about a second and a half ahead.
Well, Kevin LePage is coming up in the picture. Him and Labonte have already gotten together here today, so we'll see if Terry can make it a easy pass there. Gets Stewart blocking his teammate in the center of the corner. The 18 to the 20 are going at it with themselves pretty hard right now. Now Bobby Labonte's blocking his brother. Bobby drives it in deep. Oh, hard into Stewart. Contact between the Joe Gibbs Racing cars into turn 1. Labonte tried to pull those save moves. Stewart did. And Terry moves by both of them into turn 1. Stewart hit the wall really hard. And we stay green again. That was a hard lick. Bobby washed up the track right into Tony Stewart. And Stewart hit the outside wall hard. Hopefully I didn't blow the mic on that. I yelled a little louder than what I thought I was going to. The instant shock. That was a hard hit. The fact that they were teammates on top of it.
Number 18 just made some contact.
Contact there between the Labontes off of turn 3 as Terry pushed tight into the outside wall now.
2 seconds ahead.
The craziness of this race continues even under this long green flag run. Wow, Stewart lost a lot of time. Dale Jr. got around him for position. Labonte just got really tight in line behind LePage off of turn 3. Drift getting into turn 3. Nothing major for Terry Labonte that time. Man, he got tight off of turn 3 again, the second lap in a row. That time he didn't hit the wall. He had the wherewithal to get out of the gas, but it's going to be a tough pass to get around Kevin LePage. He's going to have to set him up about as good as he can to try and pass him cleanly. So LePage might try to take a swing at him. Actually, there's a good chance he'll take a swing at him. Maybe Stanton Barrett can get underneath Kevin LePage and Labonte can maybe take it 3 wide. That would be ideal. So he got a little loose into turn 2. Getting into that braking zone now. He's going to follow Stanton Barrett. Just kind of hoping Barrett moves to the inside. Kevin LePage. Oh, 3 wide. Contact. LePage just ran Labonte into the grass in turn 3. Terry's going to get on by.
Leaders running about 2.5 seconds in front of you.
It wasn't clean, but at least Terry Labonte got around LePage with very minor damage.
I'm sure he's still
There's a huge stack of cars from fourth on back battling heavily as they start to get more and more lap cars in their way as well. Junior continues to try and claw and scratch his way to the front. Gordon continues to lead. He's got about a second on Bobby Labonte. About a second and a half back to Terry. Kevin Harvick's up to fourth place. Almost said second. He just got around Junior that last lap. Terry trying to get around Christian Fittipaldi. Gonna get to his outside off of turn one. And Terry drafting his brother Bobby to get on by Fittipaldi pretty easily. Terry Labonte drives it in hard into turn two to the inside of Bobby. And again, Terry to second place. Hopefully he doesn't get tight off turn three this time and he can hang on to second easily. Mike Skinner going to give him plenty of room. Jeff Gordon, next car ahead of Terry Labonte. Of course, a teammate of Terry's. So Hendrick Motorsports now running 1-2 here in this one. Lap 86. Terry Labonte's closing quick. He's only half a second off the lead. Definitely faster than Gordon that last lap. Ashton Lewis might be in the way here. We'll see. Terry Labonte looks low. Gordon looks a little bit lower. Labonte going to get out of the gas a little sooner. Try to set up Jeff Gordon. Gordon got a little tight in the center of turn two, trying to pass Lewis. Both drivers get around Ashton Lewis, but Jeff Gordon still hangs on to the lead. Into turn three, a long slide into turn three by Terry Labonte. And off the exit of the corner, Jeff Gordon still holds on to the lead. So tough to pass the driver. That is the leader. Terry Labonte. Can't tell if he's really overdriving the corners or the car itself is just turning way too freely on its own getting into turn one. But either way, him getting loose is not helping him on corner entry and trying to take that pass for the lead. And now he gets to the inside of Gordon into turn two. Drives it in hard. Gordon didn't give Terry a lot of room there. Terry had to kind of flatline it into turn two, and that didn't work either. Once he hit that curbing, they got him really, really loose. The inside of the racetrack. And again, Gordon holds on to the lead. This might bring Bobby Labonte back into the picture again soon. Terry to the outside. I think that's just a setup move. Started high, but then he got loose again on corner entry. Wiggles up the track. And even the setup move wasn't going to work there. Gordon kind of got a little tight, though, off of turn one. Terry Labonte looks all the way to the inside and gets just underneath Gordon again. Similar situation to what we were 2 laps ago. Labonte to the inside of Gordon into turn two. That time Labonte holds the corner a lot better than he did last time. But again, Gordon holds on to the outside lane. And they'll be side by side now into turn three for the lead. Still a little contact. Labonte slid up into Gordon. Accidental contact with the Hendrick Motorsport teammates holding on. 1-2. And Gordon still in the lead. Trying to lead as many laps as he can. Big slide getting into turn one. Another lap car coming up in the picture. Labonte beats Gordon back to the gas, though. Another big run off of turn one. You can feel Terry Labonte's faster, but Gordon blocking for his life, just trying to hang on to the lead now. Jack Sprague, the lap car, going to be in the way. 3 wide to the inside. There's the opportunity for Labonte in turn two. A 3 wide pass to get around Gordon and the lap car of Sprague. Didn't use him as a pick. Gordon drives it in deep into 3, trying to get back to the inside of Labonte, who entered a little bit wide, but Terry holds on. And for the 3rd different time today, Terry Labonte will take the lead at Pocono, as we're almost halfway done, currently at lap 90 of 200. Yeah, I know some PlayStation 2 games were compatible with PlayStation 3, but not all of them. Kind of like some PS4 games are compatible with PS5, from what I've heard at least. It's unfortunate. Hopefully you still have an Xbox so you can play that game, otherwise it's just, well, it's not actually rotting away, but I was going to make the joke that it's rotting away wherever you're holding it, but that, I mean, it's just not getting usage out of it if that's the case, which is unfortunate. But at least that means you've already got the game. You just need the actual Xbox console. Terry Labonte leads here today at Pocono. We're going to alternate the different camera angles one final time in today's race. Almost a 2-second lead back to Jeff Gordon. Last win for Terry Labonte came at this racetrack 6 races ago. Hard to believe it's been that long already. 3 DNFs and 2 13th place finishes in that stretch for Labonte. He was 4th in points when he got that last win at Pocono, and he was only about 126 points off the points lead, sitting in 4th, and now he's 257 back, 15th in points. Some of the leaders coming into the pits this time. Trying to short pit. Kevin Harvick up to 3rd, meanwhile, got around Bobby Labonte, at least within the last couple laps. Didn't know exactly when he took it, just kind of noticed now that he was ahead of him. Bobby could have came to pit road that time, too. I'm not entirely sure. Did have a handful of drivers at least that came to pit road there. Gilad S., welcome to the stream. Bonnie got loose down the straightaway again there, so he wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be loose on corner entry. Backed it up really well as he's starting to pull away from Gordon. Definitely some hard-fought battles for position and for the lead, as we saw a little bit ago. And we've pretty much seen that all the way since the drop of the green flag when we started tonight's race. Just past 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time by the time this race went green. Ryan Newman now into the top 5, up to the 5th spot. But again, some of that might be some green flag pit stops as they continue to go on. Another lap car that race leader Labonte's coming up on, that would be Kenny Wallace right now. Wallace gives plenty of room to Labonte. Labonte takes over the inside. Bounce off the curb, kicked him a little wide. Wallace barely kept his car off the wall. About a quarter of a tank of gas left in Labonte's race car. So he should easily get past the halfway mark before he has to make his 3rd pit stop of the day. Well, I should say 4th pit stop of the day. Pitted under 2 of the yellows, 2 of the 4 that came out earlier in the race. Look how quickly Labonte's lead has grown out over Gordon. He's already over 5 seconds ahead of him now. Largest lead that Terry Labonte has had today. Now he fell back to 5th after the cycling and pit stops last time, and it took him almost the full run to get back around those guys. So we'll have to see how far back he'll drop this time. Maybe he won't drop back as far. He's going to try to take this run as long as he can. We don't know exactly if we're going to get any more cautions, which are definitely possible that we could. The last caution that came out in the first Pocono race this year came out with 7 laps left. So we could definitely see a late race caution today. We've already had 4 of them, which is more than what we saw, which was only 3 the first time we were here as well. We're almost halfway, though. Mark Martin up to 2nd. I think Gordon has already hit pit road. I believe Kevin Harvick has already hit the pits as well.
I'd be real surprised if he don't try something.
Well, Sterling Marlin is starting to close up on Terry Labonte here at lap 99. Marlin a lap down after coming off of the pit lane.
He's looking to settle the score.
Skinner got held up big time by another lap car just coming off the pit lane.
Making me nervous. Get in here for some gas.
No heavy damage on Labonte's car, but Marlin is coming in hot.
Number 40 is right behind you. Off high.
And Labonte just brakes and he just lets Marlin go. He's not even going to deal with Sterling Marlin right now. Marlin was coming in hot and he was probably going to either turn him or just door check him in the center of turn 2. So Labonte hit the brakes really hard and just let Sterling Marlin get on by. He's not even going to battle him there. Sterling's got fresher tires. Labonte was willing to give up the time on the racetrack. Smart move there by Terry. He was in position to win last night's race, came to an end prematurely, messing around with Marlin, not doing that today. He already got his payback on him. And we'll be halfway this time by. Ricky Rudd trying to get back on the lead lap as well. Rudd got a little tight there in the center of turn 1. Ricky Rudd going to try the outside into turn 3. Not going to work. Labonte slides up the track, scrapes the wall slightly. Well, I guess Rudd's just going to pass him on the inside then. Labonte made a little bit of a mistake there off of turn 3. He's got about a 34-second lead on Bobby Labonte, who I believe is already pit. I believe everybody on the lead lap has already hit pit road. Except for the race leader, Terry Labonte, of course. Will be coming in fairly shortly. Definitely wanted to make sure he was going to get past the halfway mark first, just in case he can make it on... Well, I don't think he's going to make it on 2 more stops. 2 more stops after this next one, perhaps. The way those 4 cautions came out in the first 35 laps did kind of mess up the original pit strategy. Labonte's about a full second of a lap faster on those fresher tires than what Terry Labonte is. Be a 4-tire stop though for Terry. No adjustments when he does come to pit road here within the next couple laps. To the inside of Ashton Lewis in turn 3. Terry Labonte's going to go one more lap. Bobby Labonte gains another second that last lap, but Terry knew he could go one more lap on fuel, so he's going to stretch it. As far as he can during this fuel run. Oh, Lewis in the wall in turn 2 after bouncing off the curbing. He's trying to get underneath Terry Labonte. Labonte pulled a block on him, but that was way too deep of a corner entry for Lewis, and the curbs didn't help at all. Terry Labonte will be coming onto pit road. Make sure he doesn't speed. Perfect. 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel. He was just sputtering coming to pit road off of turn 3, so that was well done by Terry Labonte, taking it the full fuel run. So again, no adjustments, 4-tire stop, and now mistake on the rear tire changer. First time in a couple races we've seen a mistake out of this crew, but that has been the story for most of the season, especially under these green flag stops. A really slow stop, expected to be 19 seconds. It goes 3 seconds longer. A 22-second stop there for Terry Labonte, and he will come off of pit road worse than what he came off the last time. Remember, he was in 5th place when he cycled out of the pits earlier. He's in 13th cycling out of the pits, right in line behind Mark Martin as he tries to get up to speed. That is tough. Drove it in deep into turn 2. To the inside of Martin. That mistake on pit road was very, very costly. A 3+ second longer stop. The rear tire changer had problems. And again, that just goes to show it is somebody different every time. Whether it's the Jackman, the front tire changer. The gas man had 3 mistakes within those last 4 races. Again, none of them being in the last race at New Hampshire yesterday. Still not what you want to see. That is for certain. Okay, I gotta start paying attention here. Lack of attention cost me a little bit getting into turn 3. Not only Labonte fell all the way back to 13th, but he's 14.9 seconds off the lead as well. Just can't have those mistakes. Obviously very costly there. Took most of the run for Labonte just to get back to the lead that last time. At least 2 more pit stops left I don't think it's going to be any more than that for the rest of this race. Shouldn't be. Unless we get more cautions, I guess. Just over a 70-lap green flag run. Had 2 green flag stops in that stretch, of course. By the way, we'll stick with this far chase cam for the rest of today's race as well. There's no lap traffic or really a battle going on anywhere around the race leader, who I'd have to assume is Jeff Gordon once again. Bonnie's actually losing time to leaders. He was about just under 14 seconds off the lead, and now he's just over 15 seconds off the lead. And Rusty Wallace is starting to run him down for 13th. Not only the pit stop was slow, but Labonte not looking very fast on the racetrack himself right now as well. A wiggle getting into turn 2.
Number 2 wants to get by you.
Ricky Rudd closing in on Rusty Wallace as well. .2 back at the line now for Labonte, off the race lead.
The 2 car up high.
What is the best commentary combo ever in NASCAR? Ever. I mean, Alan Bestwick, Wally Dallenbach, and Benny Parsons. That 3-team trio back for NBC in the early 2000s was great. Obviously, one that probably resonates more with my lifetime all the way through my lifetime, or at least for most of it, being a NASCAR fan, was Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip. They gelled well together. Mike Joy, well, I guess it wasn't Mike Joy at the time. Well, no, Joy wasn't in the booth in the early 90s. I was going to say when Neil Bonnet and Ned Jarrett were both in the booth together as well. That was pretty cool. Ken Squire was good. For my preference, I'd rather enjoy like a Mike Joy, listening to that. And obviously I grew up with that, so, there's probably a little bit of bias in there. Oh, wow, Wallace with a late block there on Family Man Rusty. Rusty Wallace now trying to pull out a block down the Long Pond straightaway. Seen drivers try to go with the blocks on Labonte earlier in the race, and they proved to be a little too tight into turn 1. Luckily for Rusty Wallace, that wasn't the case there. How he entered in as deep as he did and held the corner was incredible. Look at how much ground he gained on the driver ahead of him, who I believe is Jeff Burton in the 99. Oh, Wallace looking to make a pass on Burton. Off of turn 2, they're side by side. Ricky Rudd's still not far behind the 5, the 2, and the 99 here. Almost some contact. Jeff Burton might not have realized they were 3 wide as he almost clipped Rusty Wallace. Maybe thinking Wallace was going to go down the track a little bit more. Oh, Labonte loose down the straightaways with the analog stick, and that's going to allow Rusty Wallace to stay in front of him. That was a big mistake in a fast area of the racetrack again. It wasn't my fault. You guys know the drill, and you guys know the deal with this controller. There it is again. And that's going to allow Ricky Rudd to maybe make a move. Rudd clips the left rear of Labonte. Labonte did come down a little bit on Rudd. Rudd still clears the 99 of Jeff Burton. Wallace tried to break the draft down the straightaway a little bit there on Terry. Terry's got a big run in the draft, though, off of turn 1. So Terry Labonte's definitely faster than Rusty Wallace right now. Wallace off the curb, goes a little wide. I think he entered in a lot hotter, too, after Labonte got in the back of him on corner entry. Labonte's 13.5 off the lead. Remember, he was 15.3 back at one point. They're coming off the pit lane, so he's starting to gain some of that ground back again. The short pitting there by 5 to 10 laps for these guys starting to catch up with him. Rusty actually only pitted a couple laps before Terry Labonte. Probably why he's hanging with him a little bit, but you can still tell Terry's faster. Rusty was just able to get around him and get that initial track position between the two. Michael Waltrip, next driver for position ahead of these two. Waltrip with a late block on Rusty Wallace. Labonte hugs the curbing to get to the inside of Wallace now. Off of turn 3, Rusty beats him back to the gas and hangs on. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. For sure, Rusty was definitely one of the older faces in the sport this time period. Been around for a while. So continues to try and get around Michael Waltrip. Waltrip kind of blocking him a little bit as well. Labonte to the inside of Wallace off of turn 2. A better corner exit. Wallace hanging in there. Labonte drives it in deep, barely clears Rusty. Clears Michael Waltrip off of turn 3 as well. A 2-for-1 special there for Terry Labonte. Rusty Wallace going to barely clear Michael Waltrip as well. Well, Waltrip's getting a good pull back to his right rear, and I guess they're still side by side. They go into turn 1. Rusty's going to have the advantage on the bottom. And Rusty clears him. Waltrip maybe trying to cross him back over himself to the inside off of turn 1, but he can't quite get the grip on the exit that he needed. 12.1 off the lead still. That's quite a ways despite Terry being in 11. We see on these long green flag runs at Pocono time and time again how spaced apart the field gets. It's a 2.5 mile track that takes over 50 seconds to get around consistently lap time wise. So that comes to no surprise. I think this might be a pass for position. Burton with the block on Labonte. Contact into turn number 2. Burton obviously checked up a little bit quicker than Terry was thinking he was going to into turn 2 as well. See how good of an exit to turn 3 Terry's going to get. Maybe try to make that move on Ward Burton. Tries, couldn't do it. This is a battle for 10th. And Ward is obviously hanging on as hard as he can right now. Got to the outside of Ward Burton that time. I don't know if the outside's going to work. A little side drafting action. Into turn 2. Labonte got a little loose. Hooks the curbing. Just didn't work. Ward Burton's trying to make him pass him on the outside. That's probably not going to happen here at Pocono. So Labonte's going to have to find a way around him one way or another. It's to the outside again off of turn number 3. He's there, a little side draft. Trying to run Burton down the track cleanly. They're going to go into one side by side now. Terry Labonte trying to back up turn 1. And that didn't work either. Down towards the grass. Labonte can't obviously go any lower down the straightaway. Doing everything he can to get around Ward Burton. It's just not happening. Pretty wide with the lap traffic way further up ahead as well. Labonte again to the outside of Ward Burton. No, maybe not. Ward's going to block up there too. Mistake. Into turn 1, and Ward Burton hangs on to the position. Lap car, Brett Bodine going to be in the way. It's going to mess up the corner exit there for Burton. 3 wide underneath goes Labonte. Finally had the opportunity, and it came because of a lap car. 80 laps to go here today at Pocono. Terry Labonte into turn 2 hard, clears Ward Burton for 10. Ward held on for about 3 to 4 laps there.
We're about 10 seconds off the lead.
10.4 off the lead now.
Halfway on gas.
Three wide into the tunnel turn, nearly 4 wide up ahead. Oh, they are 4 wide. Off the exit of turn 2, where they're going to make it into 3. They space out a little bit better by the time they got into the corner. They probably realized, hey, I don't think we're going to make it. So a couple of them decided to get out of the gas. Boy, did they fan out there. You don't see that on the long runs at Pocono too much. It's usually on the restarts where you see stuff like that happen. And even then, the single file restarts of this 2003 season, even a little bit beyond that, you didn't see restarts like that. Labonte to the inside of Harvick for position. Tony Stewart also for position right up ahead. Stewart being held up by Hermie Sadler. So is Harvick, and that just makes an easy bypass for Labonte to get around both of them as well as Hermie Sadler. Harvick to the inside of Stewart into turn 3 now. Stewart's still stuck behind Hermie. Labonte will move up to 8th. In the meantime, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, next 2 cars ahead of him.
Leaders interval's about 9 seconds. Take care of your car, won't get him.
That was a transition from about halfway down the straightaway where the analog stick was going nuts again. And I was overcorrecting it a little bit, and then all of a sudden, that just contributed into getting as loose as what we saw there into turn 2. Bonnie in the draft of Dale Jarrett. 8 seconds off the race lead in the 8th position. Bit of an overdrive into turn 1. Oh, Martin got tight. Jarrett looking to the inside of Mark Martin for position. Jarrett all the way down low to try and block. Terry Labonte now. Labonte hard into turn 2. Oh boy, almost some contact between the 88 and the 6. Martin again gets tight though off the corner. Labonte to the inside of Jarrett, this time into turn 3. Almost 3 wide. Labonte clips the curbing to get around Dale Jarrett. And he's still on the inside of Mark Martin for position, with those two using a little bit of drafting help down these long straightaways at Pocono to stay on the outside of Labonte. Got a little loose there, and what a pull by Dale Jarrett. Gets back around Labonte, and Labonte's going to have to try it again. How much the draft pulls into effect here on these longer intermediate racetracks. Bonnie going to try to do the same on Martin. Not going to work. Bonnie a little too wide into turn 2. Cuts it to the inside. 3 wide off of turn 2. 3-car battle for 6th continues. Into turn 3. Labonte with a nice clean pass that time. Gets around both of them. Jarrett gets a little tight up the racetrack, but he also clears Martin cleanly as they merge off of turn 3 and down the Long Pond straightaway again. 74 laps to go at the line. Don't go over 9,000 RPM, saves the car. We actually haven't had an issue with running the RPM that hot today. Michael, I think you missed the beginning of the stream. I explained why we DNF'd. That was why, like you had stated yesterday, that the car was over 9,000 RPM. I had to go back and look at it to see how we even got that fast. Like, why did we get that fast? Or not that fast, but why did the RPMs even crank up like they did? And it's because the game downshifted me to first gear. Now, I have a automatic transmission on, or transmission on with this game. So that's why it downshifted to first gear, but I'm still curious as to why it actually did downshift all the way to first and not like second or third when we were trying to turn Marlin. So that was really weird that it downshifted all the way to first. And because I was in the gas so hard in first gear, obviously that's what cooked the engine. So it wasn't the contact that we made, it was because it had me in first gear with the automatic transmission. I don't know why it did that. Don't have to worry about going down that low here at Pocono, so that shouldn't be an issue today. That was a freak accident. I've never had anything like that happen to me on this game, so I don't honestly really even see that happen again because of how rare it was. The fact that we ran, I mean, between both these seasons, up to this point, the exhibitions races in both seasons as well. I mean, we've raced about 60 races or so with this game. With these full races on the channel, never had an issue like that before. Some of the leaders coming to pit road that last lap. Again, that last pit stop, very costly for Terry Labonte. His crew had a very slow stop, cost him 3 to 4 seconds on pit road. If he didn't get cost that much time, he might be right around the race leader right now. Instead, he's still in 5th. So a large portion of these leaders come to pit road. I don't think Labonte's going to stay out as long as he can this time. But he plans on staying out at least a little bit longer just to be safe that he can make it on 2 more pit stops, as he's 4 seconds off the lead at the line there. Labonte closes in on Dale Jr. into turn 3. Jr. pinches him a little bit. Labonte got really loose as he chases his car up the racetrack. Look at the run in the draft, well over 200 miles an hour into turn 1. With Jr. again with a tight block. And there was nowhere to go for Labonte on the inside. Ran out of racetrack. We'll try it again. Slide into turn 2. Junior again holds on to the position. Again, you wonder when Dale Jr. will come to pit road. Not going to be that time either. Labonte trying to get another big run in the draft. Just takes a peek to the inside. Just didn't get as good of a run as he did the last time down the main front stretch. A little bit of a slide into turn 1 again. Now to the inside of Jr. in the center of turn 1, and he'll clear him. Labonte to 3rd. Labonte loose down the straightaway and made him overdrive into turn 2.
Couple top 5 cars are on their way into the pits.
Some of the leaders came to pit road, cycling Matt Kenseth to the race lead. Labonte just less than a second behind Kenseth.
Number 15, stay low. Clear.
Not sure if Kenseth's led a lap or not yet today, but he at least led, well, I should say before that last lap. So obviously he did lead at the line that last time. Labonte does close in on him. I think Kenseth might be coming to pit road this time. And that is going to give the lead to Terry Labonte. Kenseth into the pit lane. So Terry Labonte, for the 4th different time, will be leading at Pocono. Lap 134. I think Labonte's going to go as far as he can on this run again. Just try to lead as many laps as he can. But his pit crew cannot make another mistake this time. He was still getting somewhat close to those guys. He was about 3 seconds off the lead when they started coming to pit road. The race leaders, when they came to pit road. And that was about the 3 to 4 seconds that Labonte lost on pit road. That is the difference so far. So Rusty Wallace, Ricky Craven, last of the drivers is still pit. Michael Waltrip on fresher tires, going to drive right around Terry Labonte for the moment. Labonte lets him go. Bonnie should be able to make it to about 60 laps to go. The car skating into turn 1 again. Rusty Wallace 8 seconds off the lead. I'm not sure if Rusty's led a lap or not yet, and that might be why he's trying to start this run out as far as he can. Maybe he can get a lap led on Terry Labonte, the rest of the field if Labonte pits before him, but I don't see Rusty taking it quite that far, given the fact he pitted a couple laps before Labonte the last time. So if Terry just tries to go all the way to the end, I mean, that means Rusty Wallace has done a heck of a job saving fuel over the course of this run, if that's the case. So again, Labonte will lose the lead once he comes onto pit road again, or at least you'd have to imagine he would. So Rusty Wallace probably coming into the pits this time. Or that last time off of turn 3, to be more specific. Labonte could probably go another lap or two. Big slide into turn 2. Labonte's just kind of content with staying out as long as he can so he can try to clinch the most laps led as soon as he can. If he can even clinch it. Again, we're not sure how many laps he's led or really how many laps anybody else has led in today's race. I think somebody to watch out for as far as the race win goes is actually Bobby Labonte. That'd be a heck of a hot streak for him if he can win today's race. That'd be 2 of the last 3 races Bobby Labonte will go to victory lane. He won 2 races ago in Chicagoland. And we mentioned he had a runner-up finish the first race at Pocono this season. He actually won the second Pocono race on season 1 of NASCAR Thunder 04. So Bobby Labonte definitely knows how to get around this racetrack in this game. Terry coming to pit road there. Good catch. He was probably not going to make it another lap. And luckily he locked the brakes in time. He did not speed, and he did not miss the pit road either, because that was definitely a close call as well. Good catch by Terry Labonte, because I don't think he would have made it another lap on fuel. So Labonte's on pit road. And another mistake for the second straight stop. This time it's the Jackman. It was a clean first half of the race for the crew. With the second half, the last 2 stops have been mistakes all over for Labonte and his team. Look at how slow the stop is. About 2 seconds slower than what it should have been. It wasn't 4 seconds slower like the prior pit stop, but look at how far back Labonte's going to come out. He was in 5th place when the pit stop started. He comes out in 11th. You have to assume if Labonte loses this race by anywhere between 5 to 7 seconds or less, it's going to be because of those 2 pit stops that his pit crew had made major mistakes on. That's why it takes a team effort to win these races. Labonte hasn't really had much team effort this year. Really been the main thing holding him back. Between that and the races he's led when lap cars have taken him out, which has only happened 2 or 3 times, but still, that alone, I mean, that all comes back to bite you if you can't seal the deal at the end of the season for the championship. 17 seconds off the lead for Labonte. It's as far back as he's been today. Not as far back position-wise because he started last. Harvick's trying to run him down for the 11th spot currently. One more pit stop to get to the end of this race. Labonte a little loose into turn 2. It's been so hard to pass cars today, especially on this long green flag run. We have gone over 100 laps since the last caution. Despite 4 cautions in the first 35 laps of the race. So by far the longest green flag run. 9 people watching currently right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. 12 people have hit that like button so far. Make sure you do so if you haven't already. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We do these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast every single day. Harvick trying the outside in turn 1. That was interesting. Actually got more than half a car to the side of Terry Labonte, but he couldn't complete the pass and sits behind the 5 car again with Terry trying to hold off his every move into turn 2. Track position is key at Pocono. We saw that in the first race here. We've seen it all day today as well. I think Terry Labonte's going to have to short pit this next time, or at least pit with the rest of the leaders if he's going to want a good chance to win this race. What a move by Harvick. Again, tries the outside into turn 1. Came a lot closer that time. Oh boy, they almost made contact off of turn 1. Gutsy move by Harvick for the 2nd straight lap, trying to pass Labonte on the outside in turn 1. Both times he couldn't quite pull it off. Looks high in turn 2. Ashton Lewis crowds Terry Labonte on corner exit. Obviously, yeah, fuel a factor as well. For sure. We saw fuel a factor in Season 1 and Race 1, and Race 1 this season as well on this game. Especially at these 500-mile races at Pocono, you see it more so than the 400-mile and shorter races we've grown accustomed to over the recent years at Pocono. At 13 likes now. Goal was 25 coming into the stream. We were rolling in pretty quickly there. We still got just over 50 laps to go, and again, at least one more stop left. Depending on the cautions, if we get another one today or not, might make it for more than one stop to the end, but everybody will be able to make it on one more pit stop. Yeah, it's so hard to save fuel here. Just the long straightaways and a 2.5-mile racetrack in general. The good news is you can actually draft pretty well down these long straightaways, so that's obviously going to help. I'm not entirely sure when NASCAR went to Sunoco race fuel instead of 76. Honestly forgot until we started playing this game that it was 76 and not Sunoco. So I honestly don't know off the top of my head when that came into play. Well, Bonnie's done a great job keeping Harvick behind him, that's for sure. Harvick was one of the last lead lap cars to pit before Labonte, at least. Bonnie is faster than the leader. It's just how far he has fallen back because of the 2 pit stop mistakes, both under green flag conditions. Bonnie skated into turn 1, still clears Kevin Grubb easily. Luckily, Grubb is a much slower race car. Bonnie was able to make that move still. Ricky Rudd in 10th currently. Labonte going to be looking to take that spot away very shortly. ...2004 is the first year of the story. All right. So right when they changed the Nextel Cup from the Winston Cup, I guess, is when they... Man, all sorts of changes in 2004. From the point system to the schedule to the... Even the video game, no longer a Thunder Series EA. Even the racing fuel. Bonnie to the inside off of turn 2 on Ricky Rudd. Drives it in hard into turn 3. Overdrove it a little bit, but he still clears Ricky Rudd. And Bonnie back into the top 10 again here at Pocono. So yeah, NASCAR 05 not having Pocono due to licensing issues. This is going to be the last race at Pocono in quite some time on the channel. Next NASCAR game probably? So I don't think we're going to get to 06 anytime soon. Not with doing the Truck, Busch, and the Cup Series with NASCAR 05. So yeah, that's we're going to have quite a while yet. Yeah, we'll have to see, because Natalie announced that she signed a contract, but we just don't know what series or what team. She just kind of teased it, I guess, the other day from what I heard in the comment section. I heard them talk about it briefly on the NASCAR Weekly podcast last night as well. I didn't watch it live, but I didn't have to work today, so I listened to it throughout the day. Also, if you haven't checked it out, I did upload the race of the week from last week. It was a little overdue. Sorry for the late upload on that one. I usually try to get that out the weekend after the week's over, but I was pretty busy the last couple days. So got that uploaded, though. It is out there now, and I'll make sure next week's will be released on time, probably on Sunday this week. Sunday this coming weekend from this week's races. It was tough. I wanted to put the first Pocono race there because I thought it was the better race. It had a much closer finish, too, than what our NASCAR Heat 5 Championship race was. But the NASCAR Heat 5 Championship race was a good race, and it was the final full race live stream on Heat 5 on the channel. So, kind of a sentimental favorite more than anything. And obviously there was good racing throughout, so that is what made the cut for the race of the week. What happened to the truck race being the race of the... Well, that was just for the 1 week. It was the best race that we had that week on the channel. That's why I did the truck race at Martinsville. It was tough because that and the Xfinity race were both pretty similar as far as good races, but I took the truck race. Just a tad bit better of a finish is really what put it ahead of the Xfinity race in my book.
Number 16, up us. Okay, we're clear.
The way the first half of this race went so crazily. I'm trying to figure out how Stanton Barrett's at minus 58, but I guess he's a little upset with Terry Labonte. Not upset to take a swing at him, luckily. Labonte gets to Barrett's inside off of turn 2. Should make an easy pass on him. Rusty Wallace starting to come up through the field as he's right behind Harvick. Harvick got around Rudd as well. Obviously, so did Wallace. Burton blocked Labonte a ton on the last run. Thought about doing it there. Labonte getting just enough of a draft off Fittipaldi. He's going to be able to clear Ward Burton. Burton drives it in hard, but Labonte able to block him off and hold him off. A couple more passes on some of the lap cars, and Burton got held up too. Labonte looks to the inside, but the lap car of Steve Park is now blocking Terry Labonte. Labonte almost in the grass. Finally gets underneath Park into turn 3. Less than 50 laps to go in the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono. Down to crunch time. The later and later we get in these races, and the later and later we get into the season.
The 19 car is outside. Clear.
Yeah, that would have been Kyle Busch's rookie season in 2005, so that's why he was in the 5 car there in that game. Blown engine on the inside of the racetrack. Brett Bodine in the 11, one of the non-factors in the back marker cars for today's race at Cell Phone Team. So Bodine's out of the race for good, it looks like, unfortunately for him. Move down right in front of Terry Labonte down the Long Pond straightaway, and here comes Labonte with a hard charge into turn 1. Oh, washed up into the 4 car a little bit. Slight bit of contact. Terry got a little too loose. Well, kind of tight, I guess. Rear tires didn't hook up well, but kind of pushed up the track in the center of the corner, which led to the contact. Look at Martin blocking Labonte like crazy. Labonte's got to go into turn 3. Barely gets underneath Mark Martin.
Still beside you.
No contact. Oh boy. Wow, Martin really fell back after that contact with Labonte off the exit of 3. He's like, I gotta go. I'm faster. Didn't want to make that much contact with him. I tried to loosen him up a little bit, honestly, off of 3. I didn't mean to get to him that second time on the straightaway, but once we made the initial contact, my analog stick was just going crazy on me. I was overcorrecting it down the straightaway. Led to the additional contact. Yeah, Brian Vickers would have been in the 25. That GMAC paint scheme that Brian Vickers had back then, that was actually a pretty solid scheme, I thought. It was a really good-looking race car. Yeah, don't forget, you guys get the fan vote who we're going to use in NASCAR 05 when we get there for all 3 series. We'll use Biffle for 1 season. Especially because he's got newer paint schemes in that game compared to what we ran. Pretty much only the Granger car in this one. Tony Stewart ran a little high in turn 2, a little high in 3 again. And Terry Labonte closes that gap. All over the back of Stewart off of turn 3. Gonna hopefully try to make that run into turn 1. He's gonna get there. Stewart crowds him a little bit. Oh, Labonte out of shape. Labonte holds the corner somehow. Stewart. Oh, man, Stewart in the marbles as well off of turn 1. I think he barely kept it off the wall. Labonte going to take another run to the inside of Stewart. Hard on the brakes into turn 2. Contact with Stewart in the center of the corner.
The 20 car is still there.
Hard on the brakes, and when he locked the brakes up, the rear tires slid up the racetrack right into Stewart. A little bit better into turn 3 that time. Labonte makes the pass finally for 7. A lot of open room to run in front of Terry Labonte as well now. Yeah, Kyle Busch would have been in the Busch Series in 05. He would have been in 06 and 07 as well, because they had all the Cup regulars that ran majority of the Busch schedule as well in like the Busch Series in that game too, so that was pretty cool. I honestly had no clue about that, Ethan. Did not know that. Terry Labonte still 10.8 seconds off the lead. The amount of time he lost on pit road was about 5 to 7 seconds between both stops combined as well, with the slow stops by his crew. So he could be 3 to 5 seconds off the lead, but instead he's about 10.5 seconds off the lead. Tires getting a little older. No heavy damage on the race car, so he's got that going for him. You wonder how much speed LePage wrecked out of the car earlier when that third caution race came out, just prior to lap 30. LePage just completely dumped Labonte in turn 1. Labonte hit the wall head on. Labonte still had a fast car since then, but you have to assume that knocked even just a little bit of speed out there. So that contributing factor as well as the slow pit stops. All coming into play for Terry Labonte the later and later we get into this race.
Still there. Careful. Contact with
What contact with Robbie Gordon?
number 31 wants to get by you. All clear race.
Wasn't ideal. We'll have 40 laps to go this time by. Yeah, I saw that you said that it was for this game. Honestly, didn't know. Ooh, somebody's coming to pit road. Kyle Petty, one of the lap cars. So stops are starting now. That window is just opening. 40 laps left to the end of this race. Not sure exactly how far Labonte could go. I'd say about 34 to 38 laps is the pit window for Terry Labonte. But Labonte's definitely looking at pitting before the end of his fuel run this time. Try not to lose as much time on the racetrack, and obviously he's going to still have to hope for a clean stop. The fact that the last 2 pit stops have been messed up for Terry Labonte has not been great. Labonte desperately needs to get around Elliott Sadler here. Bobby Labonte came to pit road that last time. We know he's led a fair amount of laps today. These guys are pitting awfully early, though, for the fuel window being 34 to 38 laps. You wonder if the guys that have pit within the first 2 laps, or these last 2 laps, can actually make it. That's going to give Bobby a lot fresher tires than Terry, though. Even if Terry goes 5 laps here, that's going to be a huge difference on a 2.5 mile track like Pocono, that might lead Terry Labonte to pitting even sooner. Last fuel mileage race at Chicagoland, Bobby Labonte won, so maybe him and his crew knows what he's doing by pitting as early as they did here, having to go 39 laps. Bonnie's not going to pit quite that early. Bonnie hard into turn 1 underneath Joe Nemechek. Nemechek a lap down. Bonnie going to get around him cleanly.
Leaders intervals about 9 seconds.
8.5 off the lead still. I mean, it just doesn't seem like Labonte's really closed that gap as much as he did last run either. Maybe the leaders haven't dealt with as much lap traffic. That could always be a factor. Man, oh man, it is going to be very close to the end on field for Bobby Labonte. Just a reminder, we were at Pocono earlier this season. The last caution came out with 7 laps to go. So if the trends are right, we'll see. We'll get another late race caution in today's race. Jerry Nadeau brought out that last caution for spinning all by himself in turn 1 in the last race. Way too high of a corner entry there for Labonte in turn 1. Kept it off the wall though. Left 35 laps to go this time by. The big slide.
We're about 7 seconds off the leader.
Just less than 7 seconds off the lead at the line. Jeff Gordon just came to pit road that last lap. Terry Labonte up to pit for the time being, but Terry Labonte's going to pit this time as well. So here at lap 166 with 35 laps to go, Terry Labonte will hit pit road this time for his final pit stop of the day. Not going to short pit as soon as some of these other guys, but he will be pitting. Shorter than what we've seen him all day long on these green flag runs. It's going to be a 4-tire stop. No adjustments. Can't speed, but he's going to be coming in hot. Well done. Perfect job there for Terry Labonte getting to pit road. Trying to gain as much time as he could there. Now it's up to the pit crew. Needs to make sure that pit crew does not make a mistake here. They need a perfect and clean stop. Bonnie's got to be sending out a prayer in that race car right now. To the left sides. And the money stop is going to work. 19.1 seconds. One of the faster green flag stops all day long for Terry Labonte. So not all the leaders pit to work his way onto the racetrack. Oops. Always keep both hands on the wheel. Both hands on the steering wheel. Both hands on the controller. Same concept. Bonnie's still in the lead lap if the caution did come out. Well, he was driving hard before, but he's definitely got to drive hard now. Cannot give up any more time. Still ahead of Stewart and Harvick. That's good. Those were some of the drivers that he was in front of before he came to pit road. He actually passed Stewart during the course of that last run. I think Labonte was in either 8th or 9th when the pit stop started. But still not all the leaders have hit pit road yet. Can you run him down? And what drivers are going to be able to make it on the fuel run to the end of the race? What drivers won't be able to make it? To decide the winner here in the Pennsylvania 500, it's going to come down to another fuel mileage race. Terry Labonte should be good to the end. Some of these other drivers pitting a few laps before him going to be a little bit closer. Of the leaders, Bobby Labonte laps left. Everybody else pitted at least a lap or more later. And Bobby honestly should be the race leader when everything cycles back through again. He's led a lot of laps today. Terry Labonte putting that pit crew on his back today. Trying to let that not determine the finish of this race and have himself just win outright anyway. He's not that far off Jeff Gordon, and Gordon had race-winning speed throughout. Led a handful of laps as well himself. Gordon only 3 to 4 seconds ahead of Terry Labonte. Those guys are teammates. They were battling hard for the lead earlier today as well. Bonnie hard on the brakes into turn 2 as he gets to the inside of Kyle Petty. Kyle gave him room. 30 laps to go this time by. Hard into turn 3, clears Petty in the center of the corner. Kyle almost bounced off the wall. Keeps it going, and he did keep it off of it. We mentioned during yesterday's race, running the same paint scheme, the Tony the Tiger scheme, that Terry Labonte has not won with the scheme all season long, at least in the points races. He won the Bud Shootout at the start of the year as well as his Gatorade Dual race with this paint scheme, but he has not won a points race. He's 0 for 3 with it. This is the 4th attempt, and the 2nd in as many days. Matt Kenseth pulls out of pit road right in front of Terry Labonte. Still trying to get up to speed. Labonte going to get to the inside of Kenseth off of turn 1, but now Kenseth's getting up to speed. That's going to be tough because he pitted about 5 laps after Labonte did. Kenseth's going to have a little bit fresher tires. He's going to be tough to catch. Dale Jarrett, who just came off in the pit lane, right behind him as well. Stewart also was able to get in front of Dale Jarrett, though. Kenseth already 2 wins on the season. Another driver come to pit road there. I'm not sure if that's for position or not. Yes, it was Ricky Craven. Going to pit for his final time. And I still think the race leader has to pit. There is no way that is Bobby Labonte that far ahead of the field. Once he pits, that should cycle Terry Labonte to 6. So actually, Labonte gained time on pit road by about 2 to 3 spots. Getting a little bit earlier probably helped him cycle ahead of some of those that pitted later. Almost worked on Kenseth as well. Tony Stewart is gaining on Terry Labonte. And a little bit higher in turn 1. Didn't really gain much there. Just a little too far back to try and get a draft off him. Kenseth is sailing away, meanwhile, from Terry Labonte. Again, not sure who the race leader is. But they are way out ahead and still have to pit. 26 laps left. Definitely not going to make it to the end. It might be Rusty Wallace. Wallace has stayed out of the pits the longest so far. It's going to be a tight battle for the bonus points as far as leading the most laps today as well. It's got to be close between a lot of different drivers. I'd have to say Bobby Labonte's probably led the most, but Gordon led a lot of laps early. Labonte did lead a lot earlier in the race. And Terry washes up the track in turn 1. Stewart closes the gap a little bit more, so does Dale Jarrett further back. Race leader coming into the pits this time. 25 to go, this time by at Pocono for the Pennsylvania 500. Stewart drives it in hard into the tunnel turn. Again to the back bumper of Labonte, can't make the move there, and Terry has to make sure nobody gets around him because it is so hard to pass at Pocono. If he loses just that one spot, that can be tough to gain the rest of the day. Especially if Dale Jarrett gets around both these guys, because Jarrett's got even fresher tires than Smoke and the Iceman. Saw lap traffic come into play when Jarrett might have gotten that one stolen away from him and ended up actually falling all the way back to 8th on that green-white checker finish as well. Jarrett looking to the inside of Stewart. He might try to make that move for position going into turn 2. And he does to the inside. Following Labonte's line. Squeezes Stewart up the track. Can't clear him yet. Jarrett's getting a good run in the draft, though, off Terry Labonte. That's going to help him into turn 3. And Dale Jarrett is up to 7th and looking for more. Jarrett looking high. Harvick tried that a couple times earlier. Couldn't pull it off. Granted, they were on equal tires. Jarrett on a little bit fresher tires. It might work out for Jarrett one of these times if he catches Labonte napping. Lock the brakes up into 2. He's doing everything he can to keep Dale Jarrett behind him, but it is a handful for Labonte to do so. Trying to put himself in position in case the leader can't make it on fuel. Remember, Junior was in that particular situation. First race at Pocono was leading. Caution came out with 7 to go. Actually decided to pit. Worked out for him in the sense that he got back to 7th. Passed about 7 or 8 cars on the restart, but obviously it took him out of a chance to win it. He couldn't make it on fuel to the end, even with the caution laps being ran. Hard into turn 1. He's got a couple lap cars that are not racing him very friendly right now. That would be Kenny Wallace and Elliott Sadler. Wallace trying to get to the inside of Sadler. Labonte hard into turn 2. Jarrett ran right into his right rear. Now Labonte did wiggle a little bit, but that was still enough for Jarrett to get to the outside. A little more contact as Labonte runs wide again in turn 3. 3 wide to the inside of the lap cars of Kenny Wallace and Elliott Sadler now. Jarrett, I think, is on the top trying to draft with Elliott Sadler. He takes it 3 wide. These lap cars are not cutting Terry Labonte any sort of slack. Labonte hard into turn 1. Contact with Kenny Wallace. He's trying to physically move him out of the way now with a bump and run. It did shoot Wallace past Sadler at least, but into turn 2. Terry Labonte to the inside of Kenny Wallace now. Beats him back to the gas. Clears him off the exit of 2. Jarrett still stuck behind Sadler. Looked like he was going to get around him there for a second, and then he didn't. Once Wallace got back to the inside of Elliott, they kind of trapped Jarrett on the outside, and now Tony Stewart's to the back bumper of Dale Jarrett. Thanks for stopping back, Jonathan. 12.3 off the lead for Terry Labonte with just 21 to go. That is going to be really tough for him to get back into this. There is a lot of lap traffic up where the leaders are right now, but even still, 12 seconds with 21 to go. We know at least Kenseth has fresher tires that's ahead of him still, too. You know Kenseth's going to have a good shot to win this race just because of that alone. We'll see. Haven't had a caution since lap 34 in this race. 4 of them in the first 34 laps, none since. It's a strange race.
We got 20 laps left.
20 to go. Great corner in turn 1 that time for Labonte. That's what he needs the rest of this race. It's going to be harder, obviously, as those tires get older and older, but well, Jarrett and Stewart really got held up behind Sadler and Kenny Wallace. I'm sure Harvick probably closed back in on him as well. Just a lot of green flag battles, really. Jonathan, that's the only thing you might have missed as far as the last nearly 150 laps have gone up to this point. And nothing short of exciting. Again, we've seen battles for the lead, battles for position throughout. 2 slow pit stops under green flag conditions for Terry Labonte and his crew. Car got way too loose and almost turned on its own into turn 1. That forces Labonte to shove way up the racetrack, and look how much time he lost. Here comes Jarrett with a big run. He's getting a draft off of Labonte as well. Jarrett's going to charge hard into turn 2. Entered a little bit too high, though. Maybe overdrove the corner a tad. Another hiccup. That time on the other end of the track at turn 1. Bondi trying to break the draft on the inside, not allow Jarrett to get that run on him, or at least a bigger run. Bondi already messed up the last corner, and Jarrett's got fresher tires. Bondi just needs to keep hitting his marks in these corners and keep Jarrett behind him. It's only going to make it harder for Dale to get around him. These two raced back to the caution flag in the last race when the caution came out with 7 laps to go. And by a nose, Labonte beat him back to the line for what was at the time second. But because Dale Jr. came to pit road, that allowed Labonte to restart first. And with the single file restarts, that deemed very, very good for Terry Labonte. Jarrett got caught in traffic and, as mentioned, fell all the way back to 8th in that 3-lap green-white checker. And Labonte went on to win, holding off his brother Bobby to the finish. Jarrett charges hard into turn 3. Labonte shuts the door in the center of the corner.
Wants to get by you.
Tell how tight Jarrett got once Labonte moved down in front of him and took the air off the front of his car. Labonte still 12.8 off the lead. Labonte get a big break again and get another caution late in this race. Dale Jarrett to the outside in turn 1. Second time he's tried this move. He got closer that time, but again Labonte holds clear. And as they battle hard for 6, that's only going to allow the leader to either get away more and more. Something. Oh, Jarrett clips Labonte on the left rear. Jarrett wants to go, but Labonte holding on for every position he can with this late in the race and inside the top 10. Every point matters. Jarrett hit the curbing, washed up into Labonte, overdrove the corner just a tad. But Labonte hangs on still. Kenseth's only 6 seconds off the lead now, but he's still back in 5th.
Number 88 is gaining on you.
Jarrett looks high again. Couldn't get alongside Terry Labonte that time. Cap 24, welcome to the stream. Hey, that wasn't my fault that time there, Joseph. Labonte looks high in turn 2 to block Jarrett, who also ran the outside. Jarrett ran a little bit higher, but he still couldn't get the run. Pretty much a one-groove racetrack. You got to somehow beat that car to the inside. And get a good run down the straightaway in the draft really is about the best way to do it. Another move by Jarrett to the outside of Terry Labonte. That was as close of a move as Jarrett has gotten to getting around Labonte. And again, Terry holds on the inside. Remember, Jarrett's got fresher tires by about 5 laps. That is the difference here. Another main difference is Bobby Labonte. Will he be able to make it on fuel to the end? He pitted before everybody else. I have to assume he's still the race leader. He was at the time when he pitted. Pitted with 39 laps to go. Loose into turn 1. Bonnie still gripped up about as well as he could, honestly, for that awkward corner entry. Tires are chattering again. Bonnie's going to have to get around these lap cars quickly as well. Oh, Hermie Sadler holds him up just a little bit in the center of turn 2. Bonnie does get underneath him on corner exit, but just a tad bit of time. Every little slightest moment, a millisecond, really does matter. We mentioned if it stayed green to the end and Labonte lost by anywhere between 5 to 7 seconds, it was going to be because of his pit crew cost him 5 to 7 seconds between 2 mistakes that they made on 2 separate stops. Bonnie hard to get around Ken Schrader in turn 1. He's slightly pulling away from Jarrett. That traffic obviously helping with that, but Bonnie maybe getting a little faster in this last run. He didn't really gain any time on the long run last time. Some of it was that he pitted a little earlier, obviously, too. I don't know, Michael. I really don't think he can make it to the end. He might. But you look at Dale Jr. in the first race at Pocono, pitted right around the same time, and he couldn't make it on field to the end, which gave Labonte the lead on that last restart with 3 to go. So it's definitely possible that a similar situation could be in place for Dale Jarrett. And look at that by McMurray. How low can you go? McMurray just sent it underneath Terry Labonte to get back around him. And not for position either in turn 1. again, just costing Terry Labonte more and more time. Terry to the inside again of the 42 off of turn 2.
42 car is outside.
Saying, hey, Jamie, you're a lap down. I want to let me go here. 10 laps to go, this time by at Pocono. Jarrett just got around Kevin Grubb back there, but a little bit of a gap is building up between him and Labonte. 11.7 off the lead that time for Terry, so he was about 0.5 of a second, so about a half a second quicker that last lap. Labonte's definitely starting to get the car on the longer run. Kenseth's got a little fresher tires ahead of him still, but I don't think Kenseth's leading yet. And again, mentioned it a couple times already today, especially recently. Last caution in the first Pocono race came out with 7 to go. We're getting close to that point here in today's race. Drafting down the third straightaway of the racetrack into turn 3, slides it in underneath Ashton Lewis, gets around him cleanly. Honestly, it's going to be tough even for Labonte to catch the 5th place car under a green flag run to the finish. Bobby Labonte has actually fallen to 5th, so Labonte is no longer the leader. It probably hasn't been for a little while now. So even if he can't make it on fuel to the end of the race, he's likely not going to win. So short pitting definitely didn't work out for Labonte as well as he had hoped for. Look at Jerry Nadeau trying to block Terry Labonte. Into turn 2, Labonte a little loose. Trying to get underneath of Nadeau off of turn 2 now. A lot of lap cars Labonte's having to deal with here in the last few laps.
Okay, we're clear.
8 laps to go at Pocono. Terry Labonte 0.8 of a second faster that last lap, but is it going to be too little too late? And again, I don't think Kenseth's got the lead yet either. If he had the lead, even if Labonte was gaining time, there's no way he'd be gaining that much time on Kenseth. He's got to hope that Kenseth's going to be battling for position and with lap cars at the end of the race and hoping that Matt Kenseth can't win this one. Kenseth's been on a tear. He's gotten back into the top 3 in points over the last few races again. As mentioned, 2 wins on the year for him, looking for his 3rd. Bobby Labonte just got held up behind Biffle into turn 3. Now he's to his inside. Oh, wow, they almost made contact off of turn 3.
All right, now get hungry. We need to eat up this 10-second gap to the leader. Careful, fuel's getting low.
Got one eye.
Oh, contact!
Number 16 is coming right.
Terry just kind of got hooked on the back bumper of his brother Bobby, but he'll get around him for 5th off of turn 1. Terry back into the top 5 for the first time in a long time in today's race. Loose into turn 2 and these older tires to the end. We'll have 6 to go this time by. .1 off the lead, yeah. Kenseth's in 3rd, too. So even Kenseth's not in the lead. He's still a few seconds off the race lead as well. Can he charge down leaders? He's definitely a lot closer than Terry Labonte. I think Labonte could catch Gordon for 4th, but that would be about it. So it doesn't look like Terry Labonte's going to be able to bring home the Pocono sweep. Little wiggle getting into turn 3. Bonnie going all the way downstairs.
9 seconds off. 5 more laps.
Just 5 laps to go. Oh, those guys start running out of fuel. It's been a while since we've seen something extremely crazy in today's race, so that would definitely put the icing on the cake at this point, in this juncture. Labonte has caught Jeff Gordon. Into turn 3, drives it in deep, hook in the curbing. Side by side with the Hendrick Motorsport teammates for 4th off of turn 3 with 4 to go at the line. Look at the straightaway speed for Gordon. Bonnie with a big slide into turn 1. Big run off of turn 1 though. Didn't get into the corner very well, but he got off of it pretty well. Battling hard for every point. There's 5 more for making that pass on Gordon late in today's race for 4th. It's pretty heavy lap traffic around the leaders right now. Putting that out there as well. 3 to go. Just still a long ways around this racetrack. Top 3 are within about 3.5 seconds. Keep an eye on Kenseth. He's got the freshest tires in the field. I think he's got a shot to win this thing. Bonnie's just kind of hoping they run dry to the finish. Not that time, at least. They're going to go until it runs out this late in the race. 2 laps left at the line. That last lap for Terry Labonte was about 2 seconds quicker, but he's still 6.8 off the lead. Much fuel savings going on up there too. Big slide into turn 3 on these old tires here by Terry Labonte. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go at Pocono. 2.5 miles is a long way around this racetrack. Kenseth's still 3 seconds off the lead. The race leader's got about 2.4 seconds back to Junior at the line. One more corner to go. I honestly have zero clue who's leading this race. But the checker flag is going to wave. Everybody's going to make it on fuel to the finish, at least in the top 4. Labonte brings it home in 4th place tonight. And Ryan Newman will get his first win of the season. Congratulations to him.
We see a lot of different.
And Ryan Newman with his first win of the year. Hasn't really come close a lot this season. He won the Season 1 championship without winning a race that year. So this is the first time we've seen Newman win a race on this NASCAR Thunder 04 playthrough. And he led 50 laps today in doing so, leading him the most laps. Labonte led 38. A lot of those were very early in the race. The strategy did not work out for him the way it did, staying out a little bit longer. And obviously the pit crew. I mean, we came down to it. I said when those 2 stops happened that we made mistakes on, not us, the pit crew for Terry Labonte. Labonte's pit crew made those 2 mistakes under green flag conditions. It cost him 4 seconds on the first stop and then 1 to 2 seconds on the next. So I guesstimated that it cost us between 5 to 7 seconds total on average, roughly. And Terry Labonte finished about 5 seconds off the lead at the end of the race. If it wasn't for those mistakes, Labonte would have won today's race because we went caution-free for the final 167 laps of today's race. And I didn't think we were going to go green all the way through there, especially with those 2 mistakes under green flag conditions, but we did. That ultimately cost Terry Labonte a chance to win today's race, despite starting in the last place position. But we'll take a look at the running order very fast here. Ryan Newman with the win. Dale Jr. finishes in second. Jr. actually started in the first 2 rows today, but did not lead a single lap. But still finished second place, so he was consistently up towards the front. Matt Kenseth finished third. He had fresher tires at the end of the race. Just ran out of time trying to run those top 2 down. Terry Labonte finished fourth. Jeff Gordon rounds out the top 5. Dale Jarrett 6th. Also had fresher tires at the end of the race. He did not lead a lap either. Bobby Labonte, he did lead a lot of laps too. He led 44. Not quite enough to lead the most. Pole sitter Tony Stewart led 3 laps at the beginning of the day. He finishes 8th. Mark Martin 9th. And Rusty Wallace rounds out the top 10. Martin led 1 lap. Hey, good enough for 5 bonus points. Take a look at who all DNF'd in today's race. We had 17 drivers finish on the lead lap. And Johnson. But he actually looked like he had the most dominant car today until he blew an engine at lap 58. Kevin LePage, we saw him blow an engine. Brett Bodine also blew an engine. We saw that. Ricky Rudd blew an engine in the last 50 laps. I did not see that. So we had 5 drivers that failed to finish today's race, and 2 of which being in the top 10 in points. So a couple more dominoes fall after our 20th race of the season. We got a special race tomorrow, a crown jewel event right here on NASCAR Thunder 2004. I've got something special planned for that race. Tune in. Indianapolis, obviously it's not the Indianapolis 500, but it's known for milk. And we've got a Got Milk paint scheme. And if I do win tomorrow's race, we might be doing something crazy. So that is all I'm going to spoil because I don't know if we're going to win tomorrow's race or not. But if we can win and end this losing streak, we might actually we might do something special involving milk with the Got Milk car. All right. So here we go. I believe that makes 11 or 12 different winners this season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 different winners in the first 20 races of the season. Could you imagine if we had a playoff in 2003 the way it is now, 16 drivers? We have 13 different winners in the first 20 races. That means we'd have 6 races to go and only 3 spots left for the playoffs. But we're not racing with the playoffs. Dale Jr. will take over the points lead. Mark Martin will drop 2 spots in the points. He led by single digits, though, coming into the race over Gordon and Earnhardt. So although he had a good day, he does fall back to third. He's only 22 back. So Junior's the new points leader. Again, it changes hands here. I think we're going to consistently see that to the end of the season. Again, it's going to be an epic championship battle. Especially with these guys up towards the front, especially if we can get back into it as well. Mark Martin has stated third. Bobby Labonte, 4th in points. He's moving forward. Kenseth, 5th in points. Dale Jarrett, 6th. Tony Stewart, 7th. Jeff Burton, 8th. So the top 8 still within 1 race worth of points. And we didn't lose or gain any points today. Terry Labonte with a 4th place finish and 5 bonus points. Knowing that Junior's the new points leader and finished 2 spots ahead of him, just enough, plus Martin losing the points lead. We did not lose or gain any points. We came in 257 back. We leave 257 back. So I guess not bad, but 4th place finish. I kind of expected more, but when Junior ran as good as he did today, it was going to be hard to gain those points. We did move up 2 spots in the standings. We came in 15th. We leave 13th. Yeah, one of the bigger races as well. Another reason why I want to, we'll call it the Milk Challenge tomorrow. I guess will be the saying. So tune in for the beginning of that stream because I'll put more into details there, and then if we win the race, obviously, stay tuned throughout because, again, we got something special planned. But that's a look at the point standings, and that is going to wrap it up for today's race. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Like, share, but most importantly, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Hit that bell notification button as well if you do subscribe, because you will never miss an upload or the start of a stream. You will get notified every time, or at least you should get notified every time. If you don't, that's a YouTube problem, unfortunately. But thanks for everybody tuning in here tonight. Start time for the Brickyard 400 tomorrow on NASCAR Thunder 2004 will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so hopefully you tune in for that one. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good rest of your night. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 at the Brickyard right here on NASCAR Thunder 2004.